Today we're at the Coliseum in Rome for a shoot with the Nikon Z6 and the 50mm F1.8 S, just for the Mirrorless series. Come with us while we walk around the Coliseum.
Taylor Jackson.
Shooting 67 weddings last year.
Taylor Jackson, welcome.
So Taylor, you are well known in this community. You're an amazing photographer.
The first time I came to Rome, it really did change my life. It was the first solo trip that I'd ever been on. I didn't know anyone in the city, and my cell phone didn't work here. Wi-Fi wasn't really a thing yet, and internet cafes were actually still in business. I navigated by a physical map that I printed out from my hotel from MapQuest, and I didn't have enough money for taxis, and even if I did, I would have been too nervous about only speaking English to ever get in the car. I can't even wrap my head around the amount of history in this city. The more I try to understand it, the more it actually makes my head spin. So many things that modern cities use today were invented here in the early years AD. They invented the newspaper before paper even existed, modern plumbing, aqueducts, and built the Colosseum in 70 AD. It's almost 2,000 years ago. I was there for just 2 weeks, and compared to the history of this place, it just seems so insignificant. Over the entire trip, I don't think I said more than 100 words out loud. I listened to music, audiobooks, went on a few trains, but mostly walked around completely unplugged. A lot has changed since that trip. The first iPhone came out the next year and pushed the world into the biggest technology shift that we're likely to see in our lifetime. Even though it seems slow because we're living through it, it is an incredibly significant shift in our world, and it's changing absolutely everything. Today I'm photographing a couple that I connected with through Instagram. They agreed to meet me at 6:30 in the morning because that's the only realistic time to shoot in a tourist destination. Plus, I like Rome better in the morning. Start the shoot off strong, they said. Don't make it awkward, they said. No traffic coming down this entire street for the entire time we walked up there. And then as soon as I was like, hey, this is the shot. I don't know what happened. Rush hour just began, morning rush hour. The other major tip I have for anyone wanting to shoot in a tourist destination like this is to convince your couple or give them a discount even to wake up super early rather than trying to do it at a convenient time for everybody, which would be sunset, because sunset around this time, this space here is just going to be absolutely packed. Right now, we kind of have it to ourselves, and I can get one shot. All right, we got a few now. Did some other things. She got up on the ledge, made a little bit of height difference, which I kind of liked. Like that, right? Here is the straight out of camera version of it, and here it is with my 2019 preset on it. Available on Patreon or the link below if you want to buy them straight out rather than signing up for Patreon, which is cool if you're not a wedding shooter. If you are a wedding shooter, I might recommend you sign up for it. Here are maybe my favorite location that I've ever discovered in a city. And it doesn't look like much, but the lighting just really works well here. I found a few different spaces kind of around the city here that the way the light just reflects during certain times of day works incredibly well. This is one of those spots. So if you're at the Coliseum, you can, I don't even know what street we're on, but you can probably figure it out by looking at it. There's a street beside us, and then a street underneath a bridge beside that. Hopefully that helped. Here it is preset. Here it is straight out of camera. I also add a 98% on my export for finals, even though they by no means need it. I feel like everybody just kind of appreciates like a little bit of a tight squeeze when it comes to actually the final images. The camera, quote unquote, adds 10 pounds or whatever. So I like to take away, I'm going to say like 6.5 of those pounds based on just exporting at 98% width. And I actually do that in Lightroom with kind of my final processing preset that optimizes everything basically for web. I don't know if there's a way to do that in Lightroom to just make it 98%, but if there is, cool. If not, Photoshop batch process, which I do on all of my images. Straight to camera, and summer 2019 preset by me. The I guess like my internal stress shooting at sunrise rather than sunset is usually if sunset, like you shoot a little bit before golden hour, maybe you work your way into golden hour. If it gets blue, that's cool. Usually sunset like kind of drags on and you can still do a little bit of work, but during sunrise, especially this time of year, the sun just comes up so fast. And we even at 6:30 a.m. kind of started a bit too late. It probably should have been like a 5:30 start, but I would feel absolutely terrible asking my couple to meet me at 5:30, even though they probably would have been down for it. It's just not something that I'm comfortable doing. So maybe if you are shooting in destinations like this, maybe consider off-season wintertime when the days get a little bit shorter, but they're not quite cold yet. I also forgot to roll camera on my favorite shot that I got of this entire set, which is these two images here of them standing up on this little brick wall that's probably older than the United States of America and Canada combined, because that's Europe and Rome specifically.
So good. Awesome. And if you want to stop right there, and exactly what you're doing there looks really good. And if you want to turn into each other just a little bit more.
Here we are, street. There's only two other people on the street. I feel like this is the prime thing and nobody's here. So I'm really, really happy and thrilled that we came out at this time. Even though it seemed like it was a little bit too late, I feel like it's still really, really incredible. There's a straight to camera image. And this is all being shot on the Nikon Z6 with the Nikon 50mm 1.8 lens. And that is literally the only thing that I have with me right now. My Leica is back in my hotel room, which is actually, it kind of overlooks the Coliseum. It's one of the nicest hotel rooms I've ever had in Rome. And if you are looking for places, I recommend for photography purposes looking on Airbnb, because you can select the exact unit, so you're selecting your exact view. So if you're into landscape photography from the ease of your balcony, you're able to actually make it a bit easier, I guess, on yourself. And I feel like it's, for me, and especially when Lindsay and I travel, it's way easier to maybe spend the extra 50 or potentially like $100 to maybe get a nicer room for the night, and to be able to do some photos from there and hang out and have some wine and cheese or whatever you want to do, and also be taking photos. I feel like as a couple atmosphere, even though Lindsay is a photographer and she's totally down to go and do photography projects, I feel like it is easier on a couple to just have a space to sit and to be able to work from, I guess, rather than just going and sitting with a tripod in like a popular tourist destination for an extended period of time. My stress, I guess, internally is always that I want to get the best shot, and I know that if it's not happening yet, that I want to stay until like maybe a little bit more into blue hour, and it's always just a bit of a struggle for me. Really just to balance, I guess, personal life and business life, especially when you want to be generating content and Instagram stuff to perpetuate the growth of your business, and also having a vacation. Also, the I guess the shortness of this session, which was under a total, I think it was like 21 minutes. I'll verify that and put it in the intro here. But it was very, very short because basically the way that I guess these morning shoots go is that if people live in the city, they got to go to work by like 8 or whatever. So if we meet up, we do some photos. I want to get them on their way, especially they definitely came out of their way to make it over the Coliseum area. So I don't want to abuse their time and assault their schedule, and I want to get them back on their way and make. I feel like it's kind of cool when you expect to spend like 2 hours on a photo shoot and you get everything you need very quickly. Obviously gauge this by couple, but if you're able to get everything that you need in a pretty condensed time frame, I think that says a lot of good things about you as a photographer. But then there's also the possibility, and I feel this with commercial a lot more, that you almost have to spend more time with certain companies to make it look like you're working harder, which is very, very strange if you do just generally, like, honestly get everything that you need very quickly. Especially in this case that we are just shooting in one location, that we're just doing like a loop of the Coliseum. There is no sense to spend like another 2 hours here while the light just gets worse and worse. The best photos were those first photos that we took kind of up on that brick wall that's older than the United States of America and Canada combined. I was experimenting here with just having them in the sun a little bit. I was like, this would be cool. And then I immediately realized that it's just not good. So shade is better. Shade light is nice. If it is really directional and you're getting something really unique happening, I feel like that's the only time that I'm ever going to put people in direct sun or direct reflections of sun to create something that just like hasn't existed before. But just with like a spot of sun, like it's not that cool. I got over it. All right, last photos. Kind of, I guess, weird because this is it. Again, it's kind of the opposite of my usual shoot where everything starts out kind of okay. We get warmed up and then it's like really proper golden hour and we really get those amazing images. Here, you kind of get the amazing images first and then it kind of rolls out into less good light overall. You can still get some great shots, but the best shots were definitely earlier on in the shoot. So thanks for watching today, and I hope you have a lovely day. If you don't yet have the presets that you saw today, they are in the description below. You can either sign up for Patreon and get all of them included in the monthly membership, or you can just buy them straight out. With the Patreon membership, you get a ton of other stuff, all of my like initial inquiry scripts and all kinds of different goodies, my pricing, a full pricing video, my document. You get everything if you're part of Patreon. So head over there and then join us in the Facebook group that's private for Patreon members as well. See you over there.